there's something strange happening, and it's happening in my shed. You could say there's almost a changing of the guard taking place. It's been happening for at least 2 years. You may well have gathered by now that the invertebrates involved in this are spiders. 2 spiders in particular. One I can show you, and I could show you lots of them. The other one I can't show you because I can't find one to film. And yet, only a few years ago, the situation would have been reversed. The 2 roles would have been very different. But one particular spider, at least here in the UK or in Nottinghamshire, seems to have undergone something of a revolution, and it's becoming increasingly common. People that I'm mentioning it to all seem to agree on one thing, that it's taken over the rule of the roost. And this is the spider in question. This is Pholcus phalangoides. I love the name Pholcus and phalangoides. Has a certain ring to it. This isn't quite adult, but it's very nearly there. One more molt and this will be an adult. And it's often called the daddy long legs, or sometimes referred to as a cellar spider. But its increase here has been phenomenal. Never used to get it in the house at one time, and then did find it once under the kitchen sink. But that, in those days, 10-20 years ago, was a rare sighting. But gradually over time, odd specimens turned up. I noticed them at a number of houses that I used to visit, usually in the darker bathrooms or toilets. One of these would be tucked, suspended in its scaffold web, usually low to the floor or sometimes in the corner where wall meets ceiling. But here, at my own house, these last 2 years, I've seen this spider increase enormously. And this shed is now full of these. It didn't used to be. Didn't used to occur in this shed. But now, it's gone mad and is everywhere. Now here is an adult Pholcus phalangoides. This one's built its web low down, just off the floor. Usually it is higher up, but I think it's because of the lack of space that these Pholcus in this shed are having to utilise all of the space and go down to ground level. In fact, there is another Pholcus about 2 or 3 bricks along, and then another 2 or 3 bricks along. There is the web of yet another one. They are absolutely everywhere. They're a very large spider in terms of leg length, and their leg length is a clue, really, or an indication as to the species that it's taken over from, and that's the common or garden house spider. It used to be Tegenaria duelica, but is now Eratigena duelica, or is on the point of being Eratigena. For years, Tegenarias, the large, long-legged house spiders that terrorise generation after generation of people in their own homes purely by just existing, really, have been the key species. The webs of Tegenarias would be equal in amount to what the webs of Pholcus phalangoides are now. But this spider preys on Tegenarias and the UK house spider, and that may be a clue as to why this species has suddenly done so well, and that it's eradicating, or at least limiting, the spread or numbers of our traditional house spider. It's quite remarkable that this spider can take down one of the large, long-legged house spiders that everybody is frightened of. But it can, and it does, and that forms a large part of this spider's diet. There's barely any room, and there's nowhere really you could put your hands without disturbing the web of one of these gentle spiders. And amongst all the many adult Pholcus that are in here, there are these, some young juveniles. And these stray, starting to get these outside now. At one time of day, Pholcus was very much an indoor spider and couldn't exist through the winter in the UK. But winters in the UK are now far more milder than they used to be. So this spider can quite easily survive being in a cold outdoor shed. It doesn't now need the comfort and warmth of a centrally heated house anymore. And this spider in my own house is turning up regularly. I'll often wake up in the morning, come out of the bedroom door, and one of these has constructed its web freshly in the top corner of the stairs, and I'm finding them all over. So this Pholcus phlangoides, the common daddy long-legged spider or cellar spider, call it what you will, is currently doing brilliantly well here in Nottinghamshire. I'd like to know whether it's doing the same in other parts of the UK or in Europe, but it's certainly increased in numbers these past 2 or 3 years. And now it's the commonest spider in and outside my house. I do like Pholcus, cracking things, and like all spiders, they do a great service. And those of you with a fear of the large house spiders, those long-legged male Tegenarias looking for a female running across your carpet on an autumn evening, you should like this spider and welcome it, because it is eradicating the house spider. The days of seeing spiders run across your living room floor may well be numbered, purely down to this spider here, Pholcus phlangoides.